Imagine this. You're a parent of 3, and you see a simple contest on the radio. All you have to do is drink a bunch of water and hold it in, and you could win a brand new video game console for your kids. Easy, right? It seems completely harmless, a fun little challenge. But what if that seemingly innocent contest ended with you dead? What if you had no idea that drinking too much water could kill you? Or imagine you're a lawyer, a professional, and you have this quirk, this habit of showing off how strong the windows are in your 24th floor office. You've done it dozens of times, running and slamming your body into the glass. It always works. The window never breaks. But what if one time it did? Not the glass, but the entire window frame. What if you plunged 24 stories to your death, all while your horrified colleagues watched? This isn't fiction. These are real stories, moments where normal people in an instant went from alive to a headline. These are the shocking, absurd, and sometimes darkly funny stories of people who died in the dumbest ways possible. 1. The Encyclopedia Test. You've probably heard the phrase, "I'd rather be lucky than good." But what if you're neither? What if you're so confident in your own foolishness that you invite 30 of your friends to watch you prove just how wrong you are? That's exactly what happened with Pedro Ruiz and his girlfriend, Mona Lisa Perez. This was back in June of 2017. The couple had a YouTube channel, and they were trying to make it big. They started with wholesome, family-friendly videos, but they weren't getting the views they wanted. The numbers were stagnant, so like many aspiring online stars, they decided to pivot. They switched to pranks, and it worked. The view count started to climb, but Pedro, in a desperate attempt to go viral, figured that if regular pranks were good, extreme pranks would be even better. He needed a stunt so insane, so unbelievable, that it would launch their channel into the stratosphere. He came up with what he thought was a simple test. Could a book stop a bullet? The plan was simple on paper, but completely insane in reality. He would hold a 1.5-inch thick encyclopedia to his chest. Mona Lisa would then shoot at the book from just 1 foot away. That's right, a single foot. They set up 2 cameras, one on a tripod, one held by a friend, and invited over 30 people to watch. The crowd was a mix of family and friends, some of them filming on their phones, all of them completely unaware they were about to witness a tragedy. The gun they chose wasn't some small, insignificant pistol. It was a Desert Eagle .50 caliber handgun, one of the most powerful handguns in the entire world. It's a gun so powerful that it's known for its huge recoil, and it's been known to shoot straight through car doors. Mona Lisa immediately called the police and told them she had accidentally shot her boyfriend. But the footage, captured by 2 cameras and multiple phones, told a different story. She was later charged with manslaughter. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 180 days in prison. The video of the shooting, while never officially released by the family, went viral around the world. It got them the attention they had so desperately craved, but in the worst possible way. The Encyclopedia Test was a success, but it was also a catastrophic failure. A cautionary tale about how far people will go for views and how quickly a stupid idea can turn into a permanent tragedy. 2. The chimney grenade. What do you do when a simple broom just isn't enough? You improvise, of course. You find whatever you can to get the job done. In the history of terrible improvisation, a man named Marco from Italy might hold the top spot. It was January 13, 2005. Marco, a 55-year-old man, was trying to clean the chimney in his workshop. He started with a standard broom, but the chimney was too big and the broom too small. The brush couldn't get a good grip on the soot, and it just wasn't working. Marco, frustrated but determined, decided he needed to get creative. He needed a heavier, more effective tool. He came up with a simple plan. He would attach something heavy to a chain and pull it through the chimney to dislodge the gunk. So he started looking around his workshop for a suitable weight. He probably had all kinds of options: a cinder block, a sledgehammer head, a heavy piece of metal. But what did Marco choose to use? A hand grenade. Yes, a real hand grenade, the kind designed to explode. His reasoning was, well, we don't know his reasoning. Maybe it was an old relic he thought was a paperweight. Maybe he thought it was a dummy grenade. Whatever his logic, he decided this was the perfect heavy object. His plan was simple and, to him, foolproof. He would weld the grenade to the chain in the broom, creating a perfect, heavy-duty cleaning tool. So, he got out his welding torch. He put on his welding mask and started to work. As soon as the flame from the torch touched the grenade, it exploded. The chimney was left untouched. Marco, on the other hand, was killed instantly. The irony is almost too much to bear. He died while trying to make a tool to clean a chimney, a task so simple he could have just bought a proper brush. Instead, his body was found scattered across the workshop, and the only thing left undamaged was the very chimney he had so desperately tried to clean. The incident was a tragicomic reminder that when you're looking for a heavy object, a grenade should be at the very bottom of your list. Sometimes a joke just goes too far. It starts as a good-natured prank, but in a split second, it spirals out of control with deadly consequences. On January 18, 1977, Italian footballer Luciano Ciccone, known as the Blonde Angel, was famous for his pranks. He was charismatic, funny, and loved to joke around with his teammates and friends. He and his teammate Pietro Gadin decided to stage a fake robbery. The victim of their prank was their good friend, Bruno Tabacchini, who owned a jewelry store in Rome. They thought it would be hilarious to scare Bruno, yell, "This is a stick-up," and then all have a good laugh about it later. The plan seemed perfect. They covered their faces, put on fake guns, and burst into the store yelling, "Hands in the air! This is a stick-up!" There was just one tiny tragic problem with their plan. Bruno's jewelry store had been robbed just a few weeks earlier. He was terrified of it happening again. To protect himself, he had bought a shotgun and kept it behind the counter. When Bruno saw the two men with guns, his heart must have leaped into his throat. He reacted on pure instinct. He grabbed his shotgun and pointed it at the two masked men. Pietro immediately saw the shotgun and put his hands up, yelling, "It's a joke! It's a joke!" But Luciano Ciccone, still committed to the bit, wouldn't back down. He kept his fake gun pointed at Bruno. In that moment of sheer terror and panic, Bruno didn't hesitate. He shot Luciano in the chest from close range. Luciano's last words were, "It's a joke, it's just a joke," but it was too late. The Blonde Angel, who had brought so much joy to his fans, died 30 minutes later at the age of 28, leaving behind a wife and two kids. Bruno Tabacchini was arrested and held for 18 days, but was eventually released without charge. The court ruled it a case of self-defense. The man who was a prankster, a beloved athlete, and a friend, had become a victim of his own joke, all because he chose the worst possible time and place to try and be funny. Imagine you have a weird habit, a little party trick you do for fun. You're a successful lawyer in downtown Toronto, and your office is on the 24th floor. The view is incredible, and you're proud of the building. Your trick? You show people how strong the windows are by running and slamming your entire body into them. The glass is thick, the frame is solid, and you've done it dozens of times. The window never breaks. You've never even cracked it. On July 9, 1993, a lawyer named Gary Hoy was giving a tour to a group of visiting law students. He was known for being a bit of a character. He wanted to show them just how safe they were in the office building. He turned to the students and said with a confident smile, "These windows can't break." He backed up, took a running start, and threw his whole 240-pound body against the window. He bounced right off. The students were impressed. Feeling good, Gary decided to do it again, but this time something was different. The glass didn't shatter. It held perfectly. but the entire window, frame and all, popped out of its groove. Gary, still in motion, went flying 24 stories down, the window falling with him. His co-workers and the law students watched in sheer horror. Gary Hoy had hit that same window so many times over the years that he'd weakened the frame. He died instantly, a victim of his own, tragically repeated display of bravado. A dare is a dangerous thing, especially when you've been drinking. It can make you feel invincible, like you can do anything. In 1998, a man in Ohio, whose name has been lost to history, was hanging out with a friend. His friend was cleaning out a fish tank and complaining that one of the fish, a little 5-inch monster, had been eating all the other fish. He was a fish bully. The man, feeling a rush of drunken bravado, decided this fish needed some payback. He'd teach it a lesson. He would swallow it whole. He'd apparently done this trick before. He picked the fish up and held it over his mouth. His friend probably just laughed, thinking he was joking. But he wasn't. He took a huge gulp, and down the fish went. But this fish wasn't like the others. It was a fighter. As it slid down his throat, it fought back. Its sharp dorsal fin and spines caught in the man's esophagus. It was too slippery for him to pull out, and with every panicked breath he took, it just got more stuck. The man started choking, gasping for air. His friend, realizing this wasn't a joke, called 911. By the time paramedics got there, it was too late. The man was dead. But the fish was still alive, its tail flailing outside his mouth. The paramedics tried to remove it, but it was impossible. The fish had wedged itself so tightly in the man's throat that it took an autopsy to get it out. Both the man and the fish died, locked in a bizarre, deadly battle. It just goes to show you, fish are not a food group. They're a force of nature, and sometimes they're the ones who win. 6. The DIY bungee jump. We've all had an idea that seems brilliant in the moment, something that makes perfect sense in your head, even though it's clearly a terrible idea. For 22-year-old Eric Varsha, that brilliant idea was a do-it-yourself bungee jump. It was July 12, 1997. Eric was a fast food worker who, on his day off, decided he wanted to go bungee jumping. When he couldn't find any professional bungee jumping places in his area of Virginia, he figured, I'll just do it myself. He found a railroad bridge over Lake Accotink Park. At 70 feet high, it looked like the perfect spot for a homemade jump. Eric's plan was meticulous in its carelessness. He got several bungee cords and tied them together. To reinforce his creation, he wrapped the knots with duct tape. He really thought he was taking safety seriously. He tied one end of the cord to his leg and the other to the bridge. He stood on the edge, ready to take the leap. There was just one fatal flaw in his design. He forgot that bungee cords are meant to stretch when you fall. The cords he had tied together were already a few feet shorter than the bridge height. When they stretched, they became even longer. Eric's grandmother later told reporters, he was always so smart in school. He jumped, the cords stretched, and Eric went straight past the point of no return. He hit the pavement 70 feet below with such force that he died instantly. A local man found his body the next morning, the homemade bungee cord still attached to his leg. It's a sad reminder that a little common sense is far more valuable than all the duct tape in the world. The falling dog and the water thief. Sometimes you can do everything right and fate still decides to punish you. Other times you can do everything wrong and fate finds an absurd way to get you. This next story is a 2-for-1 deal on pure, unadulterated chaos. First, let's go back to 1988 in Buenos Aires, Argentina. A little poodle named Kaushi was having the time of his life, playing on a 13th floor balcony. He was jumping around, happy as could be, when he suddenly fell off the railing. The tiny dog plunged 13 stories down, straight to the street below. He landed directly on the head of 75-year-old Marta Espina, who was walking along the sidewalk. The falling poodle killed her instantly. The dog, somehow, survived. But the story doesn't end there. A crowd rushed over to see what had happened. A woman named Edith Sola came over to look at the carnage. While she was distracted by the gruesome scene, she took a step into the street and was immediately hit by a bus. She died too. And the chaos still wasn't over. An older man, a witness to all this, saw the entire sequence of events and had a massive heart attack on the spot. He died too. One tiny falling poodle killed 3 people in 5 minutes. Now for a different kind of tragic irony. Fast forward to April 19, 2022, Easter Monday in Italy. A 46-year-old man was incredibly thirsty. All the stores were closed for the holiday, so he decided to break into a grocery store to get a drink. He found a massive tower of water bottle boxes stacked by the workers. Instead of just grabbing a bottle from the shelf, he decided to pull one from the middle of the stack. You know, like a game of Jenga. Anyone who's played Jenga knows this is a terrible idea. He grabbed a bottle from a box right in the middle, and the entire tower came down on top of him. The man was crushed under all that water and died instantly. Store workers found the mess the next day. As they started cleaning, they lifted the first box and found an arm sticking out. Security footage showed the man had broken in just to get a drink and was killed by the very water he was trying to steal. The irony is as crushing as the boxes of water. It's a great American tradition, celebrating the 4th of July with food, friends, and of course, fireworks. But sometimes people take their love for their country a little too far. On July 4th, 2024, in Summerville, South Carolina, 41-year-old Alan Ray McGrew decided to take his patriotism to the next level. Alan, an HVAC technician, was hosting a neighborhood block party. He was dressed in a full red, white, and blue Uncle Sam outfit, complete with a top hat. The party was in full swing. The drinking had started early, and the fireworks were ready for later that night. Alan loved his country and celebrated the holiday every year. He was known for being a fun-loving, good guy. At around 10:20 p.m., Alan, in a moment of pure drunken inspiration, took a large firework and placed it directly on top of his Uncle Sam hat. His wife, Paige, saw him and thought he was just messing around. She surely thought he wouldn't actually light a firework on his head, but he had already done it. The firework exploded. It caused what paramedics called massive head trauma. Alan was dead instantly. He had become his own fireworks display, a tragic and ironic end to a man who just wanted to show his love for his country. The story became a grim legend, a cautionary tale about taking your patriotic spirit a little too literally. Patience is a funny thing. It can lead you to make simple mistakes, or it can lead you to make truly boneheaded decisions. In 2004, a 24-year-old man named Philip was impatient. He had just bought a lava lamp, a classic symbol of patience and groovy relaxation. He plugged it in and waited for the waxy goo to start bubbling. After a few minutes, nothing was happening. The lamp was still cold, and Philip's patience was wearing thin. So, he came up with a brilliant plan to speed things up. He figured if he just gave the lamp a little heat, it would get going in no time. He took the lava lamp and put it on his hot stove. He turned on the burner and walked away, confident in his quick-fix solution. There was just one problem. Philip didn't know that lava lamps are designed to operate at a very specific, low temperature, usually around 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. A hot stove, on the other hand, can reach temperatures of over 500 degrees. The lava lamp quickly overheated and exploded with the force of a small bomb. Glass shards flew everywhere. One of them went straight into Philip's heart. He died instantly. He had only been trying to get a little bit of relaxation, and in his rush, he ended up with a tragic and instant death. In 2007, a radio station in Sacramento, California, decided to hold a contest to give away a Nintendo Wii, the most popular video game console at the time. The contest was called Hold Your Wii for a Wii. The rules were simple. Contestants had to drink large bottles of water and hold it in without using the bathroom. Jennifer Strange, a 28-year-old mother of 3, heard about the contest. She wanted to win that Wii for her kids more than anything. She showed up along with about 20 other contestants, ready to take on the challenge. They started drinking bottle after bottle of water. As the hours went by, contestants dropped out, unable to hold it in any longer. Jennifer kept going. She had her eyes on the prize. After several hours, Jennifer started throwing up. The radio hosts joked about it, but she didn't quit. She was determined to win for her children. And she did. Jennifer won the contest and was given the brand new Nintendo Wii. She went home feeling terrible, complaining of a massive headache. A few hours later, she was dead. Jennifer had died from water intoxication. The excess water in her body diluted her electrolytes, causing her brain to swell up. The swelling put pressure on her brainstem, which controls breathing and other vital functions. Her 3 children lost their mother over a video game. Her family sued the radio station and won a $16.5 million settlement. It was a tragic end to a seemingly harmless contest. So there you have it. The stories of people who, through a tragic mix of recklessness, bad luck, and pure, unfiltered absurdity, found the dumbest ways to leave this world. You had people trying to get views, clean a chimney, and impress their friends. They were all just living their lives, doing something that seemed perfectly normal to them, until it wasn't. The lesson here isn't to stay inside and never do anything. It's that the world is filled with 1,000 small details that you don't even think about until they're suddenly all that matters. A simple dare, a repeated habit, a moment of impatience, one little wrong turn in a world of 1,000,000 possible outcomes. These stories are a reminder that sometimes the biggest threat to us isn't a villain or a natural disaster, it's ourselves. It's the small, split-second decision that goes terribly, horribly wrong. Thank you for watching. What's the craziest story you've ever heard? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe.